Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Nick Lachey. Welcome to Cullen TV. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day today, as I am. And I just wanted to make sure that I stop by and review a little bit of content. So I don't have much time. I'm still trying to work on my consistency and balancing, being a single mom, a single working mom and also trying to create another source of income via YouTube. Still working on getting that, but I'm here today and we're going to talk about some things. So, this guy that you see on the screen here, his name is King World. That is where I was introduced to him as. But apparently, he used to go by the name World News. And so that is what we're going to be talking about today. King World is getting exposed. So a little background about who he is. He is a content creator on YouTube who goes around. He pretty much kind of stalks people who are deemed to be bad people, like Nature Boy. And carbonation. That's really he got his rise to the fame that he has on YouTube right now by covering carbonation. And he goes really, really deep. People call him a hacker. He is very tech savvy and he is able to track these people down. Like he knows their every move. And I knew about his channel, but I did not know. So I really came across him just with the carbonation things and I followed him instantly. He had really great videos. Like some of his content is actually educational. He has his panel is really smart. Like a lot of them are really smart. And so it was just nice to go to a channel that is kind of sort of in the beef sector, but still on some intellectual stuff. And so I was intrigued when I first ran across his page, I'm not gonna lie. Um, but I had no clue that all of these other allegations and everything existed. And so this YouTube creator, her name is Leilani for God. And so we're going to be watching her video today. She has compiled all of this information. The video is almost 2 hours long, so I'm going to have to split it into two parts because I have to go take my baby to softball practice soon. So, yeah, her title says World News Exposed 200 videos by 80 plus YouTubers, 100% proof. So, I'm not gonna lie, she does present a lot of facts in this video, a lot of things that appear to be facts. So, yeah, y'all make sure that y'all go follow her. She seems like a really sweet person. I mean, I love just her. Like I like to listen to content creators with kind of soft voices and not really just screaming into the phone. Like I don't really like that. And she is the total opposite. So yeah, great content. Y'all go give her a follow. Let's go ahead and
Hey everyone, it's Leilani for God, and I'm back with another video. So, in this one, we're going to launch an investigation into YouTube content creator World News, also goes by King World 2020, and Beam Team Productions. All right, so we're going to look at his arrest record a little bit, as well as there are well over 70 different people who have made videos exposing world news, and it adds up to about 140 different videos. So we'll talk a little bit about that, as well as what do we expect from each other as fellow content creators. World News considers his YouTube channel to be his job. So if this is your job, why are you interacting with your colleagues like you are a bully running a prison yard? There's definitely some mental health aspects, potentially, and allegedly some substance abuse going on, according to the allegations of people who have exposed him. So I went on Google, I typed in his name, which is on YouTube. I told you guys in my other video that I did exposing Donat. I only refer to people by how they refer to themselves on social media. So whatever you call yourself on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook or wherever you are in social media, that's how I'm going to refer to you. And I would not reveal any information on people that's not revealed already through the individual social media. So here we have 9 years ago, World News posted this video on YouTube as Marquisio Watson, which is his real name. So this was 9 years ago. All right. So I did a Google search for Marquisio Watson. I found his arrest record here, some of it. I don't think this is all of it. There are other videos that show more, and I'll show you that in a few minutes. But it says here that he served or he was had a term of incarceration of 10 years and 2 months for felony robbery with a dangerous weapon. Okay. It also says, I guess the details of that case: robbery with a dangerous weapon and failure to stop for an accident. It says that his probation got revoked uh, in the past for possession of a Schedule II substance, which is indication of drugs. All right. And let's see. It looks like the same charges as above, but the dates are different. So he has robbery with a dangerous weapon felony back in 1998 at the bottom of the screen, as well as in 2005. And what looks like his conviction date was 2006 at the top. All right, so apparently there's more than one robbery, and there's definitely possession of Schedule II drugs based on that. What is classified as a Schedule II drug, which is like a higher offense than a Schedule I drug? Examples of Schedule II narcotics, notice the word narcotics, include hydromorphone, dilaudid methadone, Demerol, oxycodone, oxycontin, Percocet, fentanyl, morphine, opium, codeine, hydrocodone. These are all derivatives or synthetic forms of heroin. So I'm not sure if he was caught, with it in a pill form, because all of these narcotics that are listed here seem to be what people can get in prescriptions. But over the years, people have increasingly switched from powdered drugs to pills. So apparently, he had some of that in his possession at a felony level. All right. So this is the video he put up on YouTube 9 years ago. 9 years ago was 2014. All right. Now in 2018, he got a failure to comply. I don't know the details of that. It says here that he was under the supervision of the Department of Corrections in North Carolina. And below that, in 2019, a fellow YouTuber who goes by the name of Crenshaw filed a harassment case against Marquisio A. Watson in the jurisdiction of Los Angeles County. All right. So he had all kinds of charges from 1996 through 20. What is that? It says projected release date August 15, 2013. So from 96 to 2013, he racked up a bunch of armed robbery and drug possession charges. Okay. And then he got on YouTube when he got out of jail in 2013, because it says 9 years ago. All right. Which would have been 2014. And then in 2018, he had a failure to comply. In 2019, Crenshaw pressed charges of harassment against him, a fellow YouTuber, female. Now, I couldn't find the videos that explained what happened between Wurld and Crenshaw, but I remember it was said that she was crying online saying that he released naked pictures of her. I guess some type of revenge porn or something, allegedly. So I just want you to understand that he's getting into these conflicts now with fellow YouTubers that are of a nature that wind up in court. So he's still criminal minded. After all of the years that he's been in and out of jail, he's still doing things that lands him in court. So I went ahead and made a playlist for you guys on my Leilani for God channel, World News Exposed. There's 138 videos in there. All right. Now, I'm not World News. It took me, I don't know, like 2 weeks to put this together. Every couple of days when I would remember, I would just put in the YouTube search bar, World News 2020, King World, Beam Team, different variations of those words, World News Exposed, and I just kept finding videos and I just kept adding them to the playlist. So it finally added up to 138. And I decided to stop looking for the videos because that's more than enough. And these videos have been made by well over 70 different content creators on YouTube. It spans over the course of 4 years. And it also covers different sectors that World News has been in. He's been uncivilized towards human beings in every sector that he's been in. He started off in the Kanika Jenkins sector. He then went over to the Nature Boy sector. Then he went over to the Young Pharaoh sector. Now he's in the Jaguar Wright sector. And the funny thing is, he loves to accuse other people of chasing clout. But the people that he's been chasing around, he does when they're trending. So he's the one that's chasing clout. Inside of that playlist with 138 videos, I might go over it at the end of this video if this video doesn't go on too long, or I'll make a separate video to go over the playlist and talk a little bit about what I know about the videos that I did watch in it. Obviously, I did not watch all of those videos. And honestly, I would tell you, read the comments. I wouldn't even say you even have to watch all of the videos. Just read the comments. The comments tell you exactly how people feel about him. Okay? People are using words like narcissist, energy vampire, sociopath, psychopath, criminal, stalker, abusive. Okay? People are using really strong language regarding World News. I've never seen anything like this on social media thus far. This video says, World News, nigga, you gay. Back chat Fred. This video is in the playlist. World News made a post of men who've had surgical enhancements to look like women and so that they could perform as sex workers. And actually, I have a screenshot from a gay male YouTuber who said that he knows of gay men who had breast implants and butt injections and put on a wig just for the purpose of doing sex work to make money. I forgot to add that screenshot to show you guys to go along with this picture, but I'll cover it in my next video. Anyway, all 5 of these pictures are men. And so that's why their butts are up, because that's the only hole that, I guess World News would be able to stick anything in. So World News says out of his own mouth, World News says, don't be lying. This stuff y'all know. Weirdo sister. So how y'all like 1 through 5? Which one? I like two. Yeah, I like to be standing up. And I said I like two and one. Five straight. But we all adults in this. So let's just keep it real. No, so we're going to have a freak nasty tool and it's going down. All right. So the transcript did the best they could to pick up on his prison talk. He speaks like an illiterate person. All right. I don't know how people can listen to that repetitive nonsense, jumbled up, mixed up pseudoscience ideas. I'll be debunking all of his fake knowledge in my next video. He has like zero knowledge, and people who listen to him have zero knowledge because they think that because he uses the word science, that he's speaking of science. None of the things that he calls science are actual sciences. Okay? People are just so severely undereducated that they would actually think that this guy is smart. Now, if you go look at my Jaguar Right Tokyo Tony challenge, I list how you guys can actually take self inventory and take control of your life. That's useful information. I've never heard World News give any relevant or useful information that you can apply to your life and become a better person. He rambles about a whole bunch of nonsense and people just buy into it because they want to. But that's what happens when you don't have a relationship with God. Any old demonic spirit can tell you anything and you just believe it. Anyway, so what World News was saying is that he put up this picture of these five men with their butts up in the air, these men in wigs. He's saying to the audience, pick which one you like, number 1 through number 5. He's saying that he prefers number 2 and number 1. He's saying number 5 is straight, meaning he likes number 5 is good for him, but he likes to do it standing up. So he would pick number 2 and number 1 because he likes to do it standing up. And he says something about a freak nasty. So he knows that it's going to be something, and I showed you guys that people who worship the devil, Pan, the goat, Lucy, whatever they want to call it, part of the culture of being a demonic spirit is participating in anal sex. It's one of their rituals. I showed you guys the pictures on that. Okay. Anyway, World News has a video here talking about run the receipts. All right. So I'm running the receipts, World. You spent 10 hours online talking about run some receipts. And according to World, if I heard him correctly, the few times I have listened to his channel, when he interviews people that I'm interested in, I don't just watch his channel. I fast forward past his random talking to try to get through the interviews. It's very difficult. He rambles a lot. Things that don't matter, things that don't make sense, just a lot of time wasted. So I fast forward a lot. And I have to fast forward through his panels as well because they call building, but most of the time they start off on an incorrect premise. They speculate and they call speculating building. You're not building, you're brainstorming. You have not even built anything. What have they built? A whole bunch of fake, false, so-called knowledge. That's exactly what the serpent promised Eve in the Garden of Eden. Oh, you eat of this tree, you will have knowledge of good and evil. Okay? And World sit up there and run his mouth. He mixes up a whole bunch of Moorish science temple garbage with 5% nation garbage. Then he claims he's Muslim. And then he speaks on he grew up in a family that practiced voodoo and did root work and saw witch doctors. So he's all mixed up. He also claimed that he was an imam in prison, which is like a Muslim prayer leader. He said he was the highest imam in the prison. So why aren't you observing Ramadan? Why don't you pray 5 times a day? Why are you all mixed up talking about all of these different pseudo religions? But sometimes you claim you're Muslim. It doesn't make any sense. You're not observing any of the standards of morality of a Muslim, of a Moorish person in a Moorish science temple, of a five percenter, even people who believe in root work and voodoo and witch doctors like Wurld does. He claims that if a person has a cat and a dog, that means that they're high vibrational and very spiritual. That's what Wurld believes. He will sit up there and give praise to Noble Drew Ali, who is a Freemason. Okay, I already debunked the Moorish Science Temple and all of their philosophy as Freemasonry. I did a video, Moorish equals Freemason. So it's so funny how they sit over there and think that they're conspiracy theorists and they're so smart. It's like 10 people over there. They can't put all of their heads together and figure out their world don't know nothing. Now he's talking a whole bunch of jumbled up stuff. And when you pick it apart, each thing that he's talking about, he doesn't live up to the moral code of all of these different mixed up religions that he runs his mouth about. Which one of them does he practice and which one of them does he live up to? Even the witch doctors have a code of conduct of how you're supposed to carry yourself and keep your spirit clean. So he spends 10 hours on the internet and supposedly he has two children, right? Scripture talks about a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. And he just posted on his page last night that he was visiting his grandchildren or they were visiting him. And I'm like, wow, you spend 10 hours a day online talking about Kanika Jenkins for years, Nature Boy for years, Young Pharaoh for years, now Jag for years. And people say Jaguar Wright picks a person and she gets fixated on them. That's exactly what Wurld does. Right? So you spend 10 hours a day on the internet, even though you have children and grandchildren. How much money have you put up for your grandchildren? Have you paid for your children to go to college? Did you pay child support for your kids? Did you live up to your duties and responsibilities as a parent? Because I don't understand how you have 10 hours a day to be on YouTube. These are some videos from the, what is it called, playlist that I put together for you guys. This one, I watched it. It was really good. And it just came out yesterday on Queen Tulsa's page. Exclusive victim shares experience. One of Wurld Newz's mods made some allegations that Wurld Newz is not safe around women nor children. The person's name is Saint LaShawn the Don, and they have their own channel. And I put all of the videos that they did on Wurld Newz on this playlist. It's at the bottom of the playlist, not because there's anything wrong with the videos. It's just that there were so many. I just decided to put them at the bottom because it's like 8 or 10 videos of Saint LaShawn the Don, an ex-mod of Wurld Newz, exposing him. But in this video that Saint LaShawn the Don did on Queen Tulsa's channel yesterday, Saint LaShawn says that Wurld Newz did allegedly beat up a woman so bad that it caused her to have an abortion, something that Jaguar Wright has been saying. Saint LaShawn also alleged that Wurld Newz had placed a camera in a woman he was dating bathroom, and it was discovered while the woman's child was taking a shower. Saint LaShawn also alleged that Wurld Newz takes pictures of people's children off of the internet and saves them for personal use. All right. So there's a lot going on. That was a good video to watch because Queen Tulsa wants to put together a committee of people to find out if it's true, the allegation that Wurld Newz is not supposed to be on the internet because he's already been in trouble in the past for cyber stalking people. So Queen Tulsa wants to put together all of the victims that she can find of Wurld Newz to hold him accountable for all of the things that he has done to traumatize other people. Saint LaShawn said that she was traumatized by her experience with Wurld Newz, and she alleged that Wurld also hacked into her computer. And there are allegations that Wurld Newz has hacked into multiple people's computers, cell phones, bank accounts, and cash apps. The video above that says World News. I got them pictures by YouTuber Darrell the Emperor Caesar. Now, the reason why I highlighted these two particular videos out of the 138 in my playlist is because one of them is just not even 24 hours old right now. And the other video goes back 4 years. So between 4 years and less than 24 hours ago, 138 videos still remain up exposing world news on YouTube. So if there are 138 videos up now, imagine how many got deleted because people just left YouTube, deleted their channels, or whatever. There's a YouTuber who actually quit YouTube for a little while. Now she's back. I'll talk about her in my next video. Here's another screenshot from the playlist. From the top of the playlist, there's a short video that World News posted as Marquisio Watson 9 years ago. So that's at the top. I wanted you guys to see how heavyweight he was 9 years ago. And I have a side by side for you in this video of how thin he is now. The video below that, Surviving World News, Domestic Violence. This lady made a video posted by Polygon 3 years ago. She alleges World News beats women, that he was on allegedly heavy drugs, such as something like cocaine or something like that, and that she wishes she never met him, and she's embarrassed to even say that she ever dealt with him. And she can't believe that he's on the internet exposing Nature Boy because he's even worse than Nature Boy. Those are the allegations that she made in that video 3 years ago. The next one below that, World News and His Criminal Record by Ashanti Ya Asantewa. And her title is Because I'm Clout Chasing, because that's what World News loves to say about everyone who exposes him. Meanwhile, he spends his whole 10 hours a day on the internet exposing other people. But in his imagination, it's only clout chasing if somebody else does it. But she goes over whatever she found of his criminal record 3 years ago. So there might be more details in that video. And then, of course, the Back Chat Fred video, World News, Nigga You Gay, is in there. King World tells on himself in stalking and hacking. This is in World's own words, out of his own mouth. He speaks in detail about how he hacks and stalks people. King World Tutorials, another video in which he goes into great detail of how he hacks into people's Facebook accounts. I'm going to show you a screenshot from this particular video because it's in his own words. I want you guys to actually pay attention to these videos. Actually, these three. That's what I want you guys to pay attention to. And that's why I put them really close to the top. Okay? These three videos are super important because here you're going to listen to how World News argues with people who are not arguing with him. He screams and yells and hollers and doesn't let people get a word in. He's wrong and then he's strong. He's wrong and strong, right? He usually has a false, incorrect, faulty premise. And then he tries to force people into that. And when they realize that he's like mentally incompetent, he gets like really upset and just screams and yells over them. But they all stayed very calm, very patient, and very polite with him, even though he was being completely uncivilized with them. He doesn't understand the meaning of words beyond like a third or fourth grade reading level. Like his comprehension of words is lacking. So he uses the wrong words a lot. And he doesn't comprehend the words that other people are saying to him. So even when they're not arguing with him, he creates an argument to cover up the fact that he does not comprehend. But these people were very nice and kind and patient with him. And they even told him, I'm not going to argue with you. Even though he was being extremely disrespectful and aggressive.
Yeah, we all know people like this. Like, we all know someone who, when they are losing the argument, the way that they feel like they won is just to yell over you, just overtalk you to the point where you can't say anything else. So, with that being said, trigger warning, because some of the things that he says is very, very triggering.
Of her in court. That was real gangster, clown. You actually afraid to join your boo, Nature Boy. To which World replied, LOL, too funny. But he didn't deny, saying that he would smack the shit out of the T in court. The T is another YouTuber, okay, who had to take legal action against World News. All right? He started harassing her out of the clear blue sky. He went to the T's Instagram page, I think, and she exposed it. I'm going to show you guys which video on which she exposed it. But he went to her Instagram page and left her a very disturbing, sinister, creepy, deep voice, message like, oh, you need to give me my credit because I've been covering Nature Boy and you don't mention me. You don't give me no shout out. Nobody owes you credit, shout out, nothing. There's so many people. There have to be over 100 people, literally, on YouTube that covered Nature Boy. He was active for like 5 or 6 years straight. And to me, as an outsider looking in, Nature Boy, I think, what was he doing? He was doing so much. He got arrested so many times that literally it seemed like every 6 months a whole new crop of YouTubers were covering him. And I guess after a few months they would just get exhausted, and just move on to other things, but not World. So World developed this habit of thinking that everyone should give him credit. And he was not the first person to cover Nature Boy, and he's not the last. So for him to call the T on her Instagram page and say that she needs to give him credit, and he said it in such a nasty, menacing, intimidating, hostile voice. It's like something you would hear in a horror movie. Why is he doing that? Why is he approaching women acting like a very dangerous, violent criminal in his first interaction towards the T? And then after that, he started to call her the Kool-Aid and started to discredit her channel. He made up all types of unfounded lies. He didn't show no proof and no receipts that the T was working for Nature Boy. Never showed proof, never was able to prove it, but he put it out there to discredit the T, turned people against her, and people went for it. I don't know why. They just believed him, took his word for it, and they still make disparaging remarks about the T. And they completely ignore the fact that World News went over to her and left her a scary message, harassing her, demanding that she give him respect that he has never earned. So I want to know how World News went from being a little head, big body criminal to a little body, big head criminal. That's what I want to know. What happened to you? How did you go from being buff with, like I said, a little head and a big body to a big head and a little body? I don't know what you be smoking in them videos that you be doing, because I know you be smoking cigarettes and you sit there and roll what you say is weed, but I don't know if you smoking the weed or if the weed is smoking you. You look emaciated, World. Okay, get help. You might need to go to rehab with Smokey O Tony. Y'all love smoking that garbage and get on the internet and start acting crazy. Completely irrational, unreasonable, and uncivilized. Okay, last time I checked, nobody likes having their phone calls recorded and put on the internet. The things that World News does are things that people protest against the government for. Don't spy on me. Don't record my calls. Don't post my personal information. Don't follow me everywhere that I go. Don't track me. World is doing everything that is the opposite of what we consider to be what makes America a free country, a democracy. Now, of course, we know with cell phones and the internet, it's all tracking and recording and following and listening to us, but we don't like it. We don't feel like that is the definition of freedom. So for Wurld to pick up those behaviors and do it to other people, the question is, would Wurld want someone to do all of the things that he does to other people to him? Would Wurld want someone to record all of his phone calls, put them on the internet, track all of his movements, put them on the internet, find all of his addresses, put them on the internet, find all of his relatives, his children, all of the women that he slept with or sleeps with, and put all of that on the internet? He wouldn't like it. And this is the reason why he has all of these different jumbled up, mixed up religious beliefs so that he doesn't have to have any moral standards. He has no standard to be held accountable to. I'm going to need him to pick one religion so we can narrow down what he is supposed to be doing and hold him accountable to it. Right? So far, he constantly praises the noble Drew Ali. Okay, so we have that standard to hold him to. What is their code of conduct? He's obviously not following any code of conduct. He talks about Minister Louis Farrakhan. The Muslims do not act like that. They do not carry themselves like that. They don't dress like teenagers. They don't wear cartoon t-shirts at 45 years of age. Okay, they dress like professional men. They are clean cut, clean shaven, and they dress up, unlike Wurld. He has no standard at which he's being held to by himself or anyone else. This is the video that the T did on Wurld News, the criminal stalker and habitual predator, timeline of harassment. It's funny here, somebody put a comment, if Dukulu was smart, he would separate himself from him. How Dukulu sits there and observes Wurld News, invading other people's privacy, posting recordings of people's private conversations in the inside of their home on the internet, and Dukulu sits there and pretends that's okay, and all of the people that's on Beam Team sit there and pretend that's okay. The question is, would you like it if it was done to you? If someone found a problem with you, they make up a problem, they pretend that it's true, they have no proof, no evidence, no receipts, and they just talk about it over and over and over and over again every day. It's old chewed gum. Over and over again every day for 10 hours a day. They chew the same gum. And then eventually, one or two things that they've said over the course of a month comes out to be true. And then they just celebrate as if everything they've said is true. And it's not. I would say 1 out of the 10 theories that they come up with turn out later to be true. So the other 9 things that they said that were false are just lies and rumors and gossip that they just put out into the world. But would they like it if somebody had a channel of 10 people that picked on each one of them and put all of their pictures of their family members, their job, their house, where they go for a vacation, where they travel to when they go to different states? If someone tracked them the way they tracked other people, the question is, would they like it? If they wouldn't like it, why are they doing it? Y'all are not the police, or are you? Are you the police? Are you the FBI? Are you the CIA? Is that where your authority to gang stalk people comes from? If you guys do research on YouTube, you will find that they find the absolute worst low-life criminals in the criminal justice system, and they recruit them to become snitches. So Wurld News absolutely fits the prototype. He doesn't seem to have any education, training, or skills to actually get a job. The allegations are that he lives off of women. He lives in some women's houses, drives their cars, sits up on their internet, depending on women that he's not attracted to. The allegations are that he gets on the internet and he buys foot pictures from women, that he has a foot fetish, that he basically sends money to women who do, I guess, like online sex work. that he does all of these like sexual activities behind the women, whoever he lives with, back because he only lived with those women for a place to stay, not because he's attracted to them. So there's like a whole number of women who he's interacted with in terms of getting naked pictures from them, fellow female YouTubers. And then when they fall out, one of them alleged, Clydiva, her video is in the playlist. She said that he released her naked pictures. And Crenshaw allegedly said the same thing. And at the time that he was releasing their naked pictures, he was living with an older woman, and her name was Miss World News. Now he's with a different woman. And she gets on the internet and tries to say, oh, yeah, he's fine. This is his job. This is what he likes to do. So I don't know if she's afraid of him, if he's beating her up allegedly or intimidating her allegedly. I don't know what he's doing, but I don't personally, a man to me is one who gets up and goes to work every day. Okay? I like a man with a union job. Got to get up early, make that good money. It keeps you strong and healthy, as well as able to provide for yourself. The man is supposed to be the provider. And it must be a miserable existence living with someone for a place to stay. That's probably why he could spend 10 hours on the internet, because he's not really that into his partner. And he calls her goddess. That's how he brainwashes her and brainwashes the general audience into thinking that he really cares and he really loves her. But somebody who could be so uncivilized on the internet is obviously like he's an angel at home. Somebody needs to go give a welfare check on that woman, separate her from Wurld, and find out, like, is she scared of him? Can she get away from him? If she was to tell him to get out of her house, would he leave? Or is she scared he'd come back and hurt her? I'm quite sure she's aware of all of his internet activity, profiling people, tracking them. So she might be afraid, or she could be a part of the operation. A lot of times they put agents together. They'll have a male and a female be a couple, and they'll both be like agents. They made TV shows about stuff like that. All right, guys. Sorry if I'm rambling like World News. I've been researching him, like I said, for the past 2 weeks. So I'm doing my best not to even curse because I'm just really disgusted by this demonic spirit. All right, so the T channel did this video, World News, the criminal stalker and habitual predator, timeline of harassment. All right, very good video. She showed a lot of different people stories in this video. This guy posted up on Facebook a few years ago. He said that when World News got out of jail, he gave World News a job. He gave World News a place to stay, like a house or an apartment. And he introduced World News to a very attractive young lady, and World News was dating her. The man said World News did not go to work as the man told him to. World News started to physically abuse the lady. This is what the man alleges in this T video. The man says the woman called him crying, saying that, World News is putting hands on me. He done pushed me up against the wall in Walmart in public. And the man said, he told World News, I helped you get a job. I put you in a home. I helped you get that woman. And this is how you disrespect me after everything I've done for you. So the man said he told World News, I'm coming over there personally, me, myself alone, to kick your ass. And the man said World News bought a Greyhound bus ticket and skipped town. So he was quick to put his hands on that woman. And he ran away from the man when the man was going to come and put hands and feet on World News. And of course, men who beat women are cowards. That's to be expected. This is a YouTuber, Flame Facts TV. Okay, he has a couple of channels. I think he also goes by Sui. He did a video in 2021, Jazzy versus the Fairies, Auntie Big Nose book, World News. Why so obsessed with Golden and Camille and Soul Energy? So here's a man, a YouTuber, who's saying, World News, why are you so obsessed with Golden and Camille, who is Young Pharaoh's baby mothers, and Soul Energy, who was one of World News's mods? And so World News was making a lot of videos being extremely rude and disrespectful to these three women. In World News's imagination, it's okay to bash and insult and lie on women when he feels that there's a problem. Now, Golden and Camille have done nothing to him. Those are young Pharaoh's baby mothers. And World News took it upon himself to make some very disparaging remarks about them just because he doesn't like young Pharaoh. That's a logical fallacy. I'll go over logical fallacies in my next video because I'm going to be debunking all of World News fake knowledge. And all he does is commit logical fallacies, deflections, gaslighting, just lying, just straight up making stuff up off the top of his head. But their theories and the way that they discuss them, it's all logical fallacies. Like they don't know how to think and process information over there at all. And they should have told him, leave Camille and Golden alone, because World News is about 45 years old. Camille and Golden are in their early 20s. They're half his age. Okay, so of course they're going to be naive. Of course they're going to be dumb. Of course they don't have life experience yet. What they're going through right now with young Pharaoh, they have said allegedly that both of young Pharaoh's parents are schizophrenic. Young Pharaoh has said that he was put out of his house at a very young age. And it's alleged that young Pharaoh didn't even finish elementary school. So if both of his parents are schizophrenic, then that definitely would indicate that he have a very high likelihood of being schizophrenic or mentally ill himself. Then if he was put out of the home at a young age, he experienced a lot of trauma. Young Pharaoh has been to jail. Young Pharaoh has been showing signs of deep mental illness for the past year or two. And it seems to be potentially drug related. He may have taken some mushrooms that altered his mind in a way that he has not been able to recover. And the thing is, if a person has a latent mental illness and then they do drugs and it brings it out, now you can't undo it. You see? So for World News to really talk down on Golden and Camille, two young girls in their 20s, they're mothers, they have small children, and they're dealing with all of this stress of their baby father. Young Pharaoh admitted to hitting both Golden and Camille, and both Golden and Camille confirmed that young Pharaoh did in fact beat on them. So why World News thought it was appropriate to further beat on them, to beat them down with his words on several occasions, on several videos, and several different days, is illogical. At the very least, he should have said, they're half my age, they're young and dumb. Hopefully this experience will mature them and they won't make bad decisions like this in the future. But World, he doesn't have the capacity to think things through. He doesn't like Pharaoh, so he's gonna just attack these women because they're associated with Pharaoh. Anyway, Soul Energy was one of his mods. She used to be on his panel and stuff like that, and they fell out because I put the videos in the playlist that Soul Energy explains what happened, as well as a woman named Goddess Sekhmet. Them two, they was dealing with World and he flipped out on them. And those two young ladies were like in their 20s, young women, way younger than World. And he started calling them names and talking bad about them. And then the 10 people that were in his beam team, they all join in. It's like, it's really crazy. It's really sad that people don't have the capacity to think things through. But like I always say, that's what happens when you don't have a relationship with God. It makes people go dumb, deaf, blind, and retarded. This content creator, Darrell the Emperor Caesar, he's the one who has the video with his finger to his mouth and says that he has pictures of World News and allegedly gay position, like actually performing some type of homosexual acts. So he's still active on YouTube and he has a 4-year past history with World News. So I'm quite sure he has a lot of dirt, a lot of experience, and a lot of information on World News. Okay. And his email address is dccaesar@gmail.com. Darrell the Emperor Caesar. Goes back 4 years of dirt on World News. This content creator is still active on YouTube, The Huggy Pacino Effect. And as well, his videos, Darrell the Emperor Caesar, are in my playlist. Huggy Pacino has made numerous videos on World. His videos are in my playlist as well. He goes back with World News, probably back to the Kanika Jenkins days. Okay. And he's still active on YouTube. So Huggy Pacino is another person who goes back a few years of a lot of dirt on World News. The Indirectly Direct podcast, they also have done a couple of videos on World, which are in my playlist. And the timing of him with World News seems to go back to the Kanika Jenkins case as well. So these are YouTubers who are still active on YouTube who know a lot about World News. The Indirectly Direct channel holder made this one of his videos. It goes back 3 years. It says Carbonation Commentator, Master Manipulator, World News Exposed. Okay, so his videos are in my playlist. This is the one that was done by Queen Tulsa in less than 24 hours ago from the time of me making this video now. It says exclusive, victim shares experience. And she adds Sherelle's World, Perry Sanders, and King World. And I understand why she added Sherelle's World and Perry Sanders, because they have been promoting and endorsing World News. And to the extent that when someone came up on their panel and said World has a very long history of being very uncivilized on YouTube, they immediately cut that person off, shut them down, dropped them off the panel. They said they didn't care. So with all of this information coming out, we have to start looking at people who endorse this kind of behavior sideways. Because again, you have to ask the question, would you like it if a panel of no less than 10 people tracked your every move, posted all of your family's pictures and all of your locations, and made disparaging comments about you for 4 to 10 hours at a time on an almost daily basis, and turn thousands of people in their audience against you with their speculation, lies, and rumors, only a small percentage of which turn out to be proven with some type of factual evidence? See, they make up a story first as the reason to track people. Then they find out something later, and then they say, oh, look, we found something. But is that legal? Is that lawful? Is it your business to take away other people's freedom by invading their privacy? Would you like your privacy to be invaded the way you invade other people's privacy? There's a couple that filmed and recorded Velvet and Solar inside of their home through their cell phone, and they gave all of the footage to World News. Now, this couple, a male and female, they have a child or children, just like Velvet and Solar are a couple with 2 kids in the home. How would the couple that filmed them and recorded them and gave the footage to World News, who then put it on the internet, how would that couple feel if it was the other way around? If it was Velvet and Solar who was pretending to be their friend, sitting up in their house, having conversations with them as a friend, but secretly video and audio recording them for several weeks. How would they feel if somebody did that to them in their home where their children are? I bet you they wouldn't like it. So why did they feel like it's okay to do it to Velvet and Solar? And I'm not going to lie, I listened to the recordings and I didn't hear anything that was criminal. I didn't hear anything that was like you could take it to the police and get somebody arrested. So it's like, if it's not an extreme emergency, there's no need to do that. Now, mind you, if I thought my neighbor was like a serial killer or, a child predator or beating up on each other, like a couple having domestic violence fights, I might, record on them and give it to the police. But just a random internet couple, and the information was not even that serious. They talk crap about each other behind each other's back. Solar said mean things about Velvet behind her back, and Velvet said mean things about Solar behind his back. Guess what? They're still together now, and Velvet is pregnant by Solar, and they're together. So even though they said mean things about each other, they're still together. Like, that's the worst thing I heard. So there was no real basis for recording them and then putting it on the internet. There was no information in those recordings that was like, oh, wow, we really needed to hear this. We needed to know that. Nothing. anyway, Queen Tulsa wants people who are victims of World News to email her at queentulsadirect@gmail.com. Queen Tulsa wants to put together World News's victims and witnesses of World News's ways that he has inflicted trauma upon other people by his invading their privacy. She wants to get everybody together. So, anyway, um, in the video where the man was talking about how he gave World News a home, a job, and an attractive woman to keep him company, this is some of the words from the transcript. This is the T channel video exposing World News, which is in the playlist. He said, you're 40 and mentally manipulating people, putting your hands on people is not how you resolve in the streets. Okay, the blanks are curses. He said, in your personal life, you had all kinds of different options. Walk away, de escalate. You could have just yelled and kept your hands in your pocket, even if she, curse word, swung on you. You really can't take a hook from a woman, but you can go to prison and talk about how you did all this killing and stabbing and hustling and robbing, you dick in the booty ass nigga. You, your family, your mama, whoever raised you, and whoever. Whole bunch of curse words. So the man was not able to put his own hands and feet on World News in retaliation. So he went on Facebook and cursed World out and exposed him for being a coward. Okay, he's like, you talk tough, like you was like a big killer and stabbing people in prison, but you come out and you put your hands on a woman. World News gets called out by a Jazzy G supporter. That video was in the playlist. World News allegedly exposed as a woman beater, liar, ex convict, and scammer. This video was in the playlist as well. But what does World News do when he got on the internet back in 2016? With a red, black, and green flag, he knows nothing about Marcus Garvey's teachings. I have a conspiracy theory that World News is not even black. I think World News and Dekulu are racist Hispanics. World News claims that he speaks.
Okay, so this part right here, I I definitely I thought that I was crazy. I'm like, no, you doing too much. You tripping. When I started thinking that the Kulu was not black. I would sit there and hear him say the N word over and over and over, and I'm like, nobody gonna tell this white dude not to say the N word. Like, yeah. So it's nice to know that I'm not the only one who was thinking that.
Fluent Spanish. And World News, the only person that he cared about when he was covering Nature Boy and Carbonation, the only one person he cared about was Mama Dia. And she's like a Spanish speaking, from the Honduras or someplace like that. And recently he was on Perry's panel and Jaguar had said some mean words. She said, I made those niggers and spics do my work. She said something really rough like that. And World News was like, well, I just want to say, I don't want to offend the Hispanic community. We don't want to say anything hurtful or offensive to them. And I was like, wow, I'm seeing a pattern here. World only stands up for Hispanics, but he's very quick to bash black people every day, all day. And if you look at his hair and you look at Dekulu's hair, they don't have nine ether hair. They get on the internet and lie and say that they're indigenous, but you can tell that they're not by the texture of their hair. Those are mixed people. They're Hispanics. And Hispanics can be, not all of them, but they do have a culture that's racist towards black people. So I
Yeah, I don't know about King World not being black. He looks pretty black to me. I'm not really saying that with King World, but definitely for the Kulu, yes, he looked like a
feel
white
like the
man.
Kuluan world, instead of exposing that the Spanish speaking countries are the highest in the world for drug production and distribution, as well as murders, not the black countries, the Spanish speaking ones are the highest on the list, and definitely not the African American community. but they fixate on the African American community. I don't understand. Dekulu had made videos talking about Rod Hayes, tell us your background. Who's your mother? Who's your father? Where did you grow up? Where did you come from? Dekulu, we have the same questions for you. These people are so weird and irrational. Where did you come from, Dekulu? Who's your mother? Who's your father? Show us your pictures. Someone did, and it turned out the whole pictures, the family was like white Mexican. Okay, and Dekulu looks white. His hair, his nose, his skin, everything. Okay, neither one of them have any black man swag. They don't have any black male energy. They have very weak energy. They both have children. I don't see how either one of them is saving up money for their children's college and for their future. I don't see how either one of them is providing a quality of life for their family. A high quality, not a low quality. That should be your priority. But Dekulu will sit on World News panel for hours, and then he'll follow up by going on his channel and repeating, re-chewing the already overly chewed gum that they already discussed with 10 different people. A whole bunch of brainstorming and speculation that they call building. And then Dekulu goes on his platform and repeats it again. Right? This is what these men do. Instead of actually being the sole provider to provide a decent quality of life for their family, they find it more interesting to degrade African Americans when the Hispanic people in their own culture have the higher numbers in the world for drugs and murder. Why don't they address that? Why don't they never talk about what's going on in all these Spanish-speaking countries? Anyway, World News had a fake persona as a Black Power person on the internet, and he had the nerve to post domestic violence in the conscious community. Why are you talking about domestic violence, sir, when you are exposed as a woman beater, liar, ex-convict, and scammer yourself? You see how this goes? Scripture says a double-minded man is unstable in all of his ways. A double-minded man is unstable in all of his ways. And that's why I love following scripture, because you can hold me accountable to scripture and I can hold other people accountable to scripture. The world does not believe in scripture. He believes in men. He don't believe in God. He believes in Louis Farrakhan, Drew Ali. He believes in humans, right? He will say all type of wonderful praises about Drew Ali and Farrakhan, but you never hear him praise God. The only thing I ever heard him say even remotely close to God is a higher power. How is it that you was the top imam in your prison that you was in for years and you have no reverence for God? And a Muslim at that? You're supposed to be praying 5 times a day, so you never stop giving praises to God. How do you go from being the top imam in prison to now you worship Drew Ali and Farrakhan? Oh, that's right. Because when people go to prison, they join the Muslims for protection. So basically, that's what you did, because you're not sticking to no Muslim principles. World News goes on to say, December 23rd, 2020, Crack Kermit, aka Charleston White, lies on a woman claiming she is a whore. Look at this woman. Does that look like a Black woman to you? Look how he stand up for this woman. She must be Hispanic. He loves standing up for white people and Hispanic people and white Hispanics. How can you say that Charleston White lies on a woman claiming she is a whore, etc., when you've told numerous lies on Kamel, on Golden Beauty, on Soul Energy, Goddess Sekhmet, when they left your Beam team? All of the people who leave the Beam team, you go on a whole narcissistic rant and campaign to smear them. All of the things you said about the tea, all of the things you said about Sweet Ma. He goes on to say, people like Charleston White should not be able to stream live, being that he disrespected this woman, lied on TI, and talked shit about Gunna. Can you imagine? Somebody like World News says people like Charleston White should not be able to stream live, being that he disrespected this woman, this white Hispanic woman. That's what World News worships. Lied on T.I., the rapper, and talked shit about Gunna. World News does this online every single day for hours and with a whole group of 10 other people. So if Charleston should not be able to live stream, why should World? You see the mental lacking in World News, the logical fallacy, the nonsense, the intellectual incompetence. Okay. Okay. Maybe it's the drugs. I don't know. I don't know what he's smoking that made him go from big body, little head to big head, little body. The drugs are smoking you. You're not making any sense. You're guilty of the things you accuse people of. You start problems with black women. You praise and worship white Hispanics. What's that about? Who are you? What is your identity? What is your true ethnic background? Your hair is not nine ether. So he sits in this, I don't know what it is, a room, I have no idea, this close to the heater for 4 hours talking about Jaguar and Goomba. This guy has no self-awareness. He can't see that he looks bad, that this looks very bad, that you're gossiping about other people, which is forbidden in the Quran. Okay? Gossiping, backbiting. World News went on a female content creator's platform who's Muslim, and there was a panelist on there who was also Muslim, and World News screamed on both of them on her own platform and told her, oh, you a Muslim woman, you're not supposed to be on the internet gossiping. World, you said you was the top imam when you was in prison. So you supposed to be her leader if you was really a real imam, which is the equivalent to like the preacher in a church. So if you was up there at that high level that you claim you was in the prison world, how are you going to tell a woman she's a Muslim, she can't be online gossiping, but you do it every day for 10 hours at a time? King World, ex-Nature Boy supporter. This video was also in the playlist. Also, it was exposed in the Tease video. World News had made some posts on social media. I don't know if it was Facebook or Instagram, but World News had posted when Carbonation got arrested. World News had posted something like, we got arrested. We need help. Share this. So World News thought he was part of the Carbonation family at one time. Below that, it says 3 a.m. and the JITAG is still bothered by Goomba Head and Nikki. How do you know how Jaguar feels at 3 a.m. unless you're up at 3 a.m. with her? A year ago, because now he said that this about Jaguar just like recently, but a year ago, Soul Energy, one of the women that he was harassing because she didn't want to be on the Beam Team anymore, she did a video saying, up early trolling, the alleged god of trolls, World News exposed. So he's sitting here talking about Jaguar being up at 3 a.m. Meanwhile, he's getting up early trolling. And look at his hair. That is not a black person's hair. Okay? That's not indigenous hair. That's not nine ether hair. Okay? I have my own little conspiracy theory. Since they like to make up stuff and talk about it for 50 years, I'm speculating that Wurld and Deculu are racist Hispanics. They look down on black people. And of course, Deculu has a wife. She's extremely dark. But racist people do stuff like that all the time. But they're not covering what's going on with their people. What's going on with the Spanish-speaking people? They do far more crime in terms of drugs and murders than black people, and absolutely far beyond what African Americans do. I have the chart to prove it. I've showed it before in the past. I'll show it again in my next video. Anyway, here's some more logical fallacies, faulty thinking, nonsense from World News. He says, King Payne rejects King World live on Instagram. So he started calling King Payne a whole bunch of times, and King Payne refused to pick up the call for whatever reasons. We don't know. Then he says, Queen Lame, talking about King Payne, waits till I'm asleep to go live with Jaguar Wright. World News, I think he says he lives in North Carolina. King Payne says he lives in California. How would King Payne know that World News went to sleep and then go live with Jaguar Wright? Then here goes King World. Queen Lame, I'm home now on California time, Ziggly Popper. Then he goes, I'm late but ready. King Payne did not make any agreement to speak with World, to meet up with him, to talk with him on live. None of the above. None of the above. King Payne was on his live interacting with his audience, and World News popped up on his live on Instagram, and King Payne was shocked. Like, how is it possible that World just invited himself into my live like a panelist on his Instagram live? Like, how is that possible? But just like I showed you guys the screenshot from the other video where World News said that he was hacking into people's Facebooks. I guess he figured out how to hack Instagram so that you don't even have to invite him up or pick him, and he could just pop up on your screen like he's part of your live making a conversation with you. I've never seen anything like that before. King Payne was noticeably startled. I don't have that video in the playlist because I couldn't find it. I don't know what the title of the video is or where it is, where it exists. It might be on World News channel somewhere. World News frequently deletes a lot of videos or they get flagged. I don't know. But I remember when it happened. I saw it when it happened. I wasn't live with them, but I watched the video later on that night. And I was like, wow, how is he doing that? Anyway, look at the logical fallacy, the falsehood, the faulty thinking. All right? Because I've watched King Payne's show when he interviews Jaguar and Goomba and Solar, people like that. And King Payne always advertises what he's doing professionally. And so the times that I have watched King Payne, he said that he's on a reality show and he has another one, like a different one that he's going to be on coming out this summer. And he said he's developing his own dating show. So that's 3 different shows that King Payne is involved in. King Payne also said that he did a commercial recently. So for World News to think that King Payne should just be available to talk to World News when World News says King Payne should be available is completely, it's not only wrong, but it's intellectually, what's the word? It's like, it's not intellectual at all. It's like mental retardation. Okay. Even if King Payne was not filming reality TV shows and commercials, why do you think that somebody would be available when you are or on your time? Talking about you're late but ready. He didn't make any agreement to meet you. You're home now on California time. So what? Queen Lane waits until I'm asleep to go live with Jaguar. What are you talking about? None of this stuff makes any sense. I've heard King Payne say that he has 2 relatives that he's taking care of, like young people in his family. Maybe a family member can't do it for whatever reasons. Right? So there's so many reasons why you would not be available when King World is available and wants to talk to you. And there's so many reasons why you would not want to talk to World News. He's not a good person. He always says things that are not true. He's a pathological liar. He always says on other people's platforms, oh, if you got something to say to me, come over to my platform and say it to me. Now, if you go over to his platform and you say it to him, a YouTuber whose videos I put in the playlist, KOM, Knockout Media, he made videos about it. He went over to World News platform. And World News will not let him talk. World News muted him, dropped him off the panel, and said that he ran from the debate. The man did not run. World News did not let him speak. And World News, what he also does, I've seen him do this several times. World News tells people, okay, you talk. I'm going to mute up. As soon as you start talking, he starts talking over you and starts screaming and yelling over you. So he's a pathological liar. He doesn't have the intellectual capacity to process and comprehend information. So he starts screaming and yelling to cover that up, to hide it. that he's not capable of thinking things through. Why are you telling people to meet you on your platform and then you refuse to let them talk? You say you're going to mute up and you don't. You scream and yell and holler and don't let people get one sentence. And I really mean it. If somebody is really skilled in editing videos, check out the 3 videos that I told you guys to check out that show Wurld screaming on people who are not arguing with him, and put a timer of how long Wurld Newz talks versus how long he lets the other person talk. And how many times he says, okay, you talk. And then as soon as they say like a few words, he start yelling over them over and over again, over and over again. And these people are being so patient with him. So someone told King Payne, Wurld is begging to be investigated for cyber stalking and harassing people. And someone said, I'm convinced he wants to be infamous. He doesn't care as long as it's clout. And someone said, that boy trying to go back to prison to live his girlfriend life out, his fantasy. And someone said, this took me out. Now, considering that Wurld Newz put up that picture of those 5.
Okay, y'all. I hate to have to stop because it's getting good, but what shout out to Leilani in the chat first of all. That is that beautiful spirit that I was talking about earlier. It just I love it. But yeah, I have to go ahead and hop off, guys. It's time for me to get ready to take my baby to softball practice. But I will be back tomorrow so that we can finish. And thank you guys so much for tuning in to Cullen TV. Y'all have a wonderful day.